The rest of my family lived 275 kilometers away in a city called Gweru. That's where my mother and my other brothers, were. And at that time, I wasn't also sure if my son had been able to raise alarm. I had taken the time to train him as a human rights activist. It was important to let people around you know that if anything went wrong, there were people that they could get in touch with. And all those thoughts were coming back. And I hardly slept. I had no blanket. When I eventually was told that I could sleep, all they provided was a dirty foam rubber, and there was no blanket to use. And I think I just lied there, and it was all these thoughts that I had to process. But I recognized that on the second day, somehow the physical torture was now withheld. They didn't have their weapons of torture on the second day. And one of them actually said that they didn't want to cause any pain. But I think I was experiencing excruciating pain in my feet. And the previous night, I took time literally to lick my wounds as I looked on the soles of my feet and what they looked like. It looked like maps on both my feet, as I saw, I think, blood forming as a result of the assault that I had received. I couldn't even fit in the plastic shoes that they had given me. And even when they brought in food, it wasn't easy to eat. My son didn't know where I was. I was the only surviving parent. And during the interrogation, I had actually been threatened with death. And I didn't doubt that that could happen. And I just couldn't live with myself to say, is this the way that I'm going to meet my death in the hands of these people? So for the next few days, the torture didn't happen, the physical torture. But I think from the time that they picked me up from home, I had to endure mental torture. And I was kind of shuffled between two detention centers. And when they took me to the other detention center, I was presented with a very painful question. One of the men said to me, "Where did you leave your son?" And I said, "I left him at home." And his response was, "Are you sure that he's still at home?" You can imagine what that does to a mother. I think I struggled with that sentence for a long time, because at the place where they were keeping me, I could sense that there were other voices in other rooms. And I just could not live with the fact that probably one of the voices belonged to my son. And they appeared quite serious about it when they spoke about that. And probably it was deliberate to cause the torture that's supposed to go with it. And then on the 5th day, I was made to kneel on gravel. You know, initially when they said, can you kneel on gravel? Because I was being accused that I had lied. They had just abducted 2 colleagues from my office. And with 2 sources of information and people who had not synchronized their information. I don't know what the other guys had told them, but I was being accused of lying from the first day that I started talking to them. And so when I was made to kneel on gravel, I thought, well, this is a piece of cake. But one of the guys said, the last time we made somebody kneel on gravel, they actually messed themselves. I couldn't believe them. I thought they were just threatening. I was there for probably 2.5 hours while I was answering their questions. The pain was excruciating. You know, I then realized it was like I had left my body and I was watching this suffering woman from somewhere. This is what the pain that I went through did to me.